You alright?
Yeah, there we go. For some reason, I had to double-click the recording thing. What's going on?
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah. Happy holidays to everyone.
Yeah.
Hope everyone had a lovely meal and time with their families.
And got the TV they wanted.
Yeah, right? Oh, the Black Friday sales.
Yeah. It's coming to England now, that stuff.
Is it?
Yeah, we don't normally get that kind of shit over here.
And you know, the sales aren't even like...
Worth it.
Well, there were a few that I bought like a few music plugins for myself that were normally like $80 or $100 down to $30.
Yeah, I was going to say, how come you don't torrent that shit?
Huh?
Why don't you use torrents?
Because anytime I use a torrent, my computer ends up locked up from my internet service provider, and they say if I do it one more time, we're just cut off.
Really?
Yeah, I need to either get a VPN program to do it or what, but...
Shit.
Yeah, it's...
What dickheads?
Yeah, so I don't know. Occasionally if I see a plugin I like enough and it's a reasonable price, I'll buy it, so...
That must be really hard on the wallet.
Yeah, well, that's why I wait for sales. Like, actually, I've been meaning to buy the DAW I use, the program I do all my recording in, and it's normally like $400. Thankfully, it's $100 off until January 18th, so I'll probably end up picking up that just so I can have the...
Fuck, that's so much money.
Full version of it. I know, but the thing is the version I'm using doesn't even have all the features because it's like an old, outdated, cracked version, and you can't crack the new ones. So it's either you gotta pay or you can't have it. There's no way around it. So.
Sad, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm advertising you should go out and do it, but I mean, if you're just doing it as a hobby, I don't see why not.
Yeah. But. So anyway, what do we want to get into today? I know you want to talk Bitcoin.
Yeah, just start off with Bitcoin, I think.
Let's, before we get into that, because I have a video coming on it, and I think it'll be something just we can quickly cover. I had a friend ask me this week on Facebook why he continually sees me posting articles complaining about transgender politics. And I've really, really lately done a lot of deep thinking about this. Why this stuff bothers me. I mean, it bothers me because it's the forefront of these...
It bothers me as well, especially after seeing that Alex Jones...
Oh, those videos and all that other stuff. Now, here's the thing. I did this video last night where I basically took the leftist idea of let's deconstruct everything, right? So I deconstructed transgender. And so I looked at the definition for gender, which it just, it's basically activities or, things that are descriptive of each of the sexes, basically. And then I looked up social construct, because you continually hear them say, gender is a social construct. Well, social construct is just something that only exists because we all agree for it to exist, or we all agree to act upon it. It says right in the definition, it's not real. It is not real. A social construct is not real. So when people say gender is a social construct, they're saying gender is not real. Essentially, it's as real as we want it to be. So then you have gender dysphoria. Dysphoria is just a feeling of unhappiness or uneasiness. So you have someone with gender, something that's not real, a social construct, and someone who's having dysphoria over something that's not real. I mean, once you deconstruct it and get into all the words, it just all falls apart. And that's where it gets really insane and really bothersome, that it's like, let's get rid of mother and father. Let's change the bathrooms. Let's arrest people for pronouns all over some shit that isn't real. Like, it's so mind-boggling, and it's like the more I look at it, the more I see of it, the more I become against it. And I don't think the activists realize that. They don't realize that for every time you push, you're going to get double the pushback. And when you really learn it and get into it and break down what's being said when they say gender is a social construct, it's like, are we really going to rewrite society for something that's imaginary? And someone who's having an uneasy feeling about something that's imaginary? And how can you get mad at people for saying that this is fucking crazy, that everyone's getting so worked up over something imaginary? And I mean, trans suicide rates, people are killing themselves over imaginary shit, and you don't think they have an underlying mental health problem?
I thought transgender medically was a mental health problem.
It is and it isn't. And you know, and that's here's the problem. Gender dysphoria is the mental health problem, but as I say in my video, you also have to ask the question then, how much respect do you have for the psychiatric, medical, industrial complex? Because again, you're talking,
I thought, like,
you have plenty of people that are depressed because their life sucks, but if they go to a psychiatrist and tell them how they feel, they're going to get put on pills. You know, like, there's a lot of psychiatry that I think is just a psyop in general. So,
I thought, like, back in the day, if you were in the army and you wanted to get out really quickly, you could say, oh, I'm transgender, and they would kick you out of the army because it's a mental health disorder.
Maybe. I mean, it's classified as one, but
I think it is. I'm checking now. Like,
the point I'm trying to make is though is, as per the DSM and mainstream psychiatry, any feeling is a mental health disorder. That's just the reality. Like, as I said, you could have someone whose life sucks, but if they go to a psychiatrist and tell them how they're feeling, the psychiatrist isn't going to say, maybe you should get a better job, maybe you should do this, maybe you should surround yourself with different people. They're going to say, here's some pills. Here's some pills that are going to take the edge off things. I mean, people have anxiety problems all the time. Are there things causing it, or are you just having the feelings for no reason? I mean, it's very wishy-washy, and that's why I get bothered. I said this to a girl one time. I said, you're foolish to think when you hear people say things like the trans experience that there's two people that arrive at being trans for the same reason. Because it's not. No one no two people are living the exact same life. So it's foolish to think that this is just something we can say, oh, you feel this way? Oh, well, the book of mental illnesses tell me if you feel this way to do this. Like, that's all psychiatry does, is it just sort of tells people, instead of dealing with their emotions and their feelings by changing their life and everything like that, it you know, offers medical, chemical, whatever options instead. Instead of telling someone you need to learn how to love yourself and who you are, they say, you should fucking chop your dick off and take some sterilizing hormones and try to become this delusion you're having. I mean, it's so warped. And every defense I keep seeing, here's the other problem with saying it's a mental health thing, Paul. People keep doing this. They keep saying, well, you need to respect, you shouldn't respect the snowflakes with the 32 genders, but you should respect the transgenders because it's a mental health thing, and, you know, they're seeing a doctor, and the doctor's giving them surgeries, and this, and that. Yeah, well, there's a woman in Britain who wanted to be blind, and she got a psychiatrist to pour bleach in her eyes. So that's on the table now, if we're going by this, oh, well, it's psychiatric, mental health, see a doctor. I mean, if that's where the standard gets set, transabled and transracial is now on the table. And
well, I'm reading a headline here. Denmark will become first country to no longer define being transgender as a mental illness. So I'm guessing it is...
They're pushing away from it now.
So I'm guessing that means it was.
Yeah. Well, it was technically gender dysphoria. Now, here's the other point I make.
That is a mental illness. And I'm read in medical journal, and that is mental illness.
Yeah.
Mental illness.
Here's the other point that I think is kind of a funny question. So, if gender is a social construct and it's just these societal norms, like men wear pants and women wear skirts and everything like that.
Well, it can't be, because that means a guy can have a child.
Huh?
Well, then they're saying that I can have a kid.
Well, there's headlines now saying men pregnant with baby, and it's someone who was born as a woman who transitioned and is actually pregnant. But here's the point I was going to make. If it's all just these societal norms and everything, that's what gender is, and then someone can transition between the two, how is the stay-at-home father not transgender? You see what I'm saying? Like, if the typical societal norm and gender norm is for the mother to be the stay-at-home parent, well then technically a stay-at-home father would be transgender because he is doing something of the other gender. But we don't look at it like that. We look at sex changes as being transgender. I mean, it used to be that people had sex changes. Now they call it transitioning, and again, it's very weird. It's almost like the waters have been completely muddied with all of the language and the introduction of the 32 genders. I almost feel like because these people are suffering with some sort of mental illness, and I honestly believe everyone feels bad for them. I don't think there's anyone who just hates them and is like, oh, these fucking freak-ass weirdos, get them away. I think everyone feels bad for these people. But I think once they added in this whole 32 other genders and just throwing it all up in the air, again, you can do that because it's all imaginary in the fucking first place. But I think it's just done to overload everyone. So they're like, oh my god, there's 32 of these? I'm not even going to question it. Just tell me what to do to stay out of trouble. So anyway, I have a series of videos basically making all those points and everything like that hopefully I'll have up today too. It's really amazing though when I really dug into it and I was like, there's nothing to this at all whatsoever, and yet we're trying to change society based on something that's completely imaginary. I mean, plus if we're going to smash the patriarchy and overthrow heteronormativity and boys are just going to be wearing skirts because we're going to abandon all gender norms, then what would be the point of transitioning anyway? So, that's all I'd say about that.
Well, yeah, now we're fucked because am I supposed to do my sales pitch for Bitcoin after that?
Well,
half our audience are going to be gone, right?
No, I think, they just now know that transgender politics should just be laughed at.
So we're going to have a title trying to get Bitcoin traffic, and then they're going to get a rant about people wearing dresses. Like, no, but seriously.
Well, I can always split the videos. That's...
Yeah, I think you're going to have to on this one. So otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. No, and that way it will keep the...
People are going to go, oh, let me learn about US tech and Bitcoin and Coinbase. And it's going to have Jamie ranting about men that wear dresses.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll upload the Bitcoin segment as its own thing.
This is why we're nosediving. Because we have a title about one thing, and we don't fucking talk about it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the people that enjoy it. I'll tell you what podcast I enjoyed lately, and I have no shame in saying it.
I'm meant to be getting... No, fuck off. I'm meant to be getting some sign-ups of this. Like, new people, new audience, who are, like, coming in from the US tech cryptocurrency YouTube channel. And they're going to get that.
Well,
why don't we do Islam next before we do Bitcoin? Just like make sure
we could. We could. That is one of our favorite topics. Actually, you know what I was at? I was just driving to the market with my mom. I was watching the Justice League movie, right? And all of these comic book movies have the black cube. Like the Justice League movie, it's the mother boxes and it's the Tesseract in another one, and, in Transformers, there's a black cube and everything. But in the Justice League movie, you have Superman, who's the prototypical Jesus archetype, and he's dead. And they're resurrecting Superman, who's supposed to be Jesus, with the black cube that symbolizes Saturn and Islam.
Yeah, I thought that was... Yeah.
how amazing is that? That they're basically saying Islam will resurrect Jesus. Like, I'm like, in an occultic, symbolic manner. That's what's being shown in the Justice League movie. It's really odd.
It's also Black Cube is a private intelligence agency.
Is it?
Yeah, they operate. I think they don't quote me, but are they not Israel in London? Israel's got its own secret service, and the London branch is Black Cube, I think.
That's
you can check that.
Yeah, I'll look into that. But and the other thing I was going to say is, you know, I really like listening.
Yeah, because Weinstein was using them. Women. That was Black Cube, and they're Israeli CIA, Mossad people. So when they're not in Israel causing havoc, and they're in London or America, that's a Black Cube.
Yeah. I was going to say too, as far as what you were saying about us, you know, not staying on topic sometimes and stuff.
Yeah, it's a fucking problem. Then.
I don't think so though. I really like watching. There's this one podcast.
What's wrong with clickbait? We need a little bit of it.
Yeah, and even though I don't like a lot of their views on everything, I really like. Have you been seeing the podcast This Week in the Alt-Right? It's like Tara McCarthy and. They had Lauren Rose on it, who I think she's amazing. These two other dudes, but I mean, they just kind of, you know all their perspectives on everything, and it's just kind of like a variety show. They just kind of talk about whatever is on their minds, and I don't know. I think to some extent, people like it. Like, you know, there's two types of videos where there's like the Paul Joseph Watson jump cut. You know, just kind of like it's like a concentrated dose of shit just hitting you real quick for 10 minutes. And then there's other ones where, you know, it's just people kind of talking and chatting and expanding on ideas, but kind of, you know, the perspective they're coming with. So, I don't know. I think people enjoy it. I do.
I enjoy it.
But I understand what you're saying from a marketing standpoint. Like,
yeah, you fucking ruined it.
Yeah. But I think
going to get anything anyway.
There's ways around it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I was going to mention that. There's a couple of things we can do. Well, I think with Watson, it's more of a video editing thing. I think he's just shit at reading stuff out.
Yeah.
He fucks it up so often that he does about 100 takes, puts it together, and by the time he's said it for about 100th time, he's so pissed off. He's just coming across as pissed off.
Yeah. Speaking of people being pissed off, did you hear Eminem is rather pissed off that Donald Trump hasn't responded to him?
He did respond to him.
Did he?
Yeah, he called him a yob and a thug.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he went, oh, he's just a thug flipping knobend. I'm sure he did call him
I don't know. I saw an article, though, where Eminem was pissed. He's really angry. It might have been. I know. Sometimes people like make fake tweets for Trump that circulate a lot.
No, I saw it come out of his mouth.
Oh, but yeah, I don't know. The article was really funny because it was basically like LeVar Ball, the father of some basketball players, now more relevant than Eminem. And it's like Eminem didn't care. George Bush didn't respond to him. Why is he trying to beef with Trump?
Well, he flopped again. He did some show where he did like his old hits, and even his fans didn't like it anymore. Even his fans were saying it's washed up.
My sister came to me and she said, "Who is this guy filling in for Eminem?" And I was like, "Oh, you finally noticed? You finally noticed that's not the guy they showed you the first go round, huh?"
Why, is it a different person, do you think?
Yeah. There was actually I think the old Eminem went away after they sacrificed Proof. And you know they sacrificed him because they showed how he died in a video a couple months before the same thing happened in real life.
I don't even know who the fuck Proof is.
He was a member of D12. And then Eminem got fat. He got fat and went into hiding and everything like that. And then next thing you know, this skinny, black-haired, Jewish-looking Beastie Boy kind of guy comes out and he starts doing songs with everyone Eminem used to diss. Eminem
Yeah,
used to diss all the pop artists, and now he's out here doing "I Love the Way You Lie" with Rihanna and all this sellout bullshit.
I hate to play devil's advocate, but what the fuck can Eminem do? Because when he came out, like sort of late 90s, he was pretty hardcore and controversial.
Yeah.
If he just said 2 or 3 of those lines now, can you imagine the social justice warrior?
Oh yeah.
Onslaught he would get. I mean,
well, and that was the thing when he.
Situation. I mean, how do you put out another album? Because anything you put out is going to be like, you're a racist, you're a sexist, help me.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, he would make songs about killing trannies and, like, murdering his wife and all sorts of just off-the-wall stuff. But yeah, the political correctness wasn't where it's at.
yeah, I mean, he got in a lot of trouble just going on stage with just a chainsaw and a mask. He did that in London, and London were like,
Yep.
you ain't
Oh,
doing that again.
you know what else we could talk about? Because we've covered it before in the past. Did you see the article I sent you about Marilyn Manson and Corey Feldman?
Well, Marilyn Manson's come up again recently. That it was a hoax that the stage fell down.
That, and there were other things mentioned in on the tweets and everything that I was reading. But yeah, Feldman basically alleged, and you know what, Paul? Let me just add in, yesterday you were saying we should do 2 segments. We should do the normal news, and then we should do the Bitcoin stuff. That's basically what we're doing. So, let's, you know, right.
Now I'm just getting your leg. I mean,
no, I'm busting your balls.
Guys. We're not getting any money, guys. We got a money spinning up.
We're not, yeah.
A new audience is going to do this, and then I'm talking about.
I'm just.
That's gonna. People are just going to report us.
I'm just busting your balls anyway. But anyway, so yeah, Feldman comes out and says.
I've got balls.
I'm sorry. That was sexist and all sorts of phobic of me.
Yeah, and you're also picking on my mental illness that I've got.
Oh no. That's like ableist. Anyway, so yeah, Marilyn Manson has this set thing fall down on him, and it's so funny because I used to really like Marilyn Manson when I'm younger, and like honestly, when I heard it happen, I'm just like, good riddance. Like, hopefully, he just never comes out. Like, I'm so over it. And even my friends who didn't like him, and
I never liked the guy.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh man, is he all right? I hope he's okay." And I'm just like, why do you, this guy is like embodiment of evil. Like, and again, I used to think there was something edgy and counterculture about it, and really like him, you know, when I was younger. I think I might have dressed up as him for a Halloween or 2 or something, like, but it's like, I'm now at the point where I'm just like, there's nothing of value he's having to offer. I mean, even music-wise, heavy music-wise, there's plenty of other artists making that music with a lot better lyrical content. Billy Corgan being one of them.
I wanted to talk about Billy Corgan. He's been saying on Howard Stern that he saw a shapeshifter reptilian.
Did you
actually shapeshift in front of him, and then he confirmed it again on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that Joe Rogan interview is amazing. But yeah, anyway, real quick, Feldman says the thing falling on Marilyn Manson was just to create publicity because his album isn't doing good. He also did a video doing a mock assassination of Trump. That didn't stir up much headlines for him. So, saying all that, but then in with these tweets, you know, Feldman is just basically like, I can't, you know, stand by and associate someone who's so cruel to people and animals and this, and that. And, you know, he's the head of the Church of Satan, all of this other stuff, and basically calls him out for, like, animal sacrificing stuff. And someone goes on and is like, yeah, but, you know, his cat just died last week, and he was posting that he was so sad about it. And Corey Feldman was just, I mean, you can tell something has switched over with him, because he said, I've been to this dude's house enough times to know what's going on. Like, don't try to come to me with, oh, he had a kitty cat, it died, and he was sad.
But didn't Angelina Jolie say she was sad about sacrificing her snake?
Maybe, but, I mean, it still
Wasn't that
is
how
like...
the conversation started, just going, I'm really sad, I had to sacrifice my own snake.
I don't feel like that's something you're entitled to be sad about. Like, maybe that's just what it is with me. That it's like, I can't... like, you had that choice. You had that choice. Like...
He's been shouting at Justin Bieber, saying that Justin Bieber is in some kind of strange sex cult, sex magic cult. He's been saying that a lot this week.
Who? Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, he's got some feud with Justin Bieber.
I know for a while they had been kind of like, the media noticed they were back and forth wearing each other's like merchandise, which is kind of weird. I think they're probably both on the same label.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson claims Justin Bieber is part of a religious cult.
You know, I've been seeing a lot of things, like even Super Deluxe did a video where Justin Bieber was at a some sort of like religious festival with these weird hip hop sort of pastors and stuff, and then I guess him and Selena Gomez were caught going to church together. Like Justin Bieber is into some sort of weird religious something or other, but I mean,
well, one thing I posted on your page was Planned Parenthood did this whole homage to
yeah, was that real?
Charles Manson.
Was that real?
Is it real?
Like I can't even. I mean, that's, you know, some of the things, like if that person was also involved with like Black Lives Matter, I would completely believe that, because I'd be like, oh yeah, they're with the Helter Skelter Pigs agenda. I mean, that's Charles Manson. Now I'm about to start talking like the fucking piece I think is satire. Charles Manson was a goddamn prophet. First off, look at your game, girl. I mean, that's an amazing song. Home is Where You're Happy, another amazing song. That's a side note. I mean, who he was with the Beach Boys. We should do an episode just on Charles Manson, because he was plugged.
He was a high-flying drug dealer.
He was plugged in. All of the Hollywood kids at that time would go out and chill at the Manson family compound. Like, you had the Hollywood starlets and all of their teenagers. Like, if it was going on right now, Jaden Smith and Willow Smith's weirdo asses would be out in the fucking desert with Charlie taking acid. Like, that's what it was going on back then. So it's just, you had all of that going on, working with the Beach Boys. Beach Boys, some of their they have a Charles Manson track like that he wrote for them. He was about to be on. I don't know what went on with the killing and the sacrifice, and maybe they all turned on him because he was too into it. Maybe it was a patsy. Some people think he only showed up at jail just for the interviews, and that he's actually just out and among people, and all we're seeing a movie play out where they're like, oh, you want to be, who knows, maybe they went to him and they were like, you want to be famous, you want to write songs, alright, well, you can sell songs to people, but your public character, we're going to say you were a serial killer that never killed anyone or whatever. Like, just,
well, he used to visit the OTO lodges,
yeah,
back in the 60s.
Like, I wonder how, like, again, he didn't hands-on do anything. A lot of links
to that. I think the Process Church had a lot to do with the OTO as well.
And
that gets you straight back to Damien Eccles, because Damien Eccles ran there as soon as he got out.
Yeah, or I mean, you could just wonder if maybe he took a little bit too much of the acid himself and just...
That's what I mean, I don't know too much about Charles Manson, but maybe that's all he was. Maybe he was just this drug runner, and he was running for all kinds of people, and that's how he met so many famous people.
Yeah, and maybe he just wanted to really be a singer, yeah, and just...
Yeah, and he was just such a balls-out drug dealer, like he just didn't give a fuck about prison, so he took massive risks and just would steal cars and do drug trafficking with stolen cars. Then he just got a good...
But as far as what he was saying about race war, the helter-skelter concept with the cops and the pigs, and I mean, look at the past couple of years with Black Lives Matter. That's what he was talking about. I mean, that shit is... So he knew what was going on, and I think that, you know, that was also during that sort of communist sort of 60s coming in, the Weather Underground. So... he probably realized the end game and was, I don't know if maybe he was just like trying to accelerate it or what. Maybe he thought the revolution was ready for tomorrow, but when I see what's going on with all that Black Lives Matter stuff, that's all I could think of. Helter Skelter.
Just sent you a link now. This is from 11 years ago on Twitter, and it's tweets from the CEO, the Twitter CEO, and it's basically talking about how he likes satanic verses and which ones are his favourite. And in his next tweet, he says, "I'm going to make some good pasta reading through the satanic verses." And in the tweet after, pasta and the satanic verses are one more Jeeves story first. So check out that link I sent you. She's talking about Satanism and pasta. Should be in your message.
Who is this? This must.
That's the CEO of
This one. No, I'm telling you, in my messages, there's I think a fake person who's sending me something weird. How do I block this person?
Click their profile.
Liz Kronk. I mean, shit is nuts. I was watching.
Looking at that picture I sent you, the tweets from.
Yeah. Page 307 of Satanic Verses made me cry. Typical. Quickly return to pages 86 to 87. Making good pasta with this. Intertwine. Yeah.
What's he talking about, do you reckon?
I don't know. I wonder what those verses are.
Well, the golden threads, when I read that, I think OTO straight away.
And you know what the thing is, though? I was thinking about this actually yesterday with a lot of this occultism and Satanism and everything. Like, the weird thing is like when you know about this stuff, like it has to do with a lot of like the metaphysical stuff and like will. Like, you know, Aleister Crowley, will be the whole of the law, basically. And everything. And so it's like, I don't know. There's just something about these people where it's like, I almost want to say in a way, it's like, it's not, there's a neutrality to it, but it's their will that makes it all evil. Like, the thing is with these people, it's not even like someone, I feel like, you know, if you have someone like myself or someone in general just post, you know, I'm reading this book, I'm reading, you know, one of Aleister Crowley's books, or like Anton LaVey and all of the newer people I feel like are sort of like selloutish. Like, but if it's like Blavatsky or Crowley or any of them, you know, people like, it's obviously how David Icke and all of them are able to cite certain things in their work, Mark Passio and all of them, but it's like, when it comes to people like Jack from Twitter, who you know is very political, especially what they're doing nowadays with de-verifying and all of that, it's like, you know, these people have bad will and bad intentions, and that's why them sort of referencing having occult knowledge, because you can use it against people, you know. I mean, a lot of, you know, what Aleister Crowley and black magic has to do with sort of even just gets sold to people nowadays in terms of like mass marketing and advertising techniques, like subliminal implantation of ideas, what colors signal what responses. Like, a lot of what was dark magic and black magic and all of that stuff has now been sort of rewritten into modern sciences in a way, like alchemy, concepts like that. But when you see it come from these people, like the Podestas, the Clintons, all the sort of satanic pedophile, and they're the ones that are sort of running with this sort of like modern Hollywood Babylonian incarnation of it. That's just what I think.
I'm completely... I'm looking at something else. I'm looking at Alex Jones's new wife. Looks a bit weird, actually. I didn't realise it was her.
Yeah, you know, there's something weird going on there, I feel like, with InfoWars lately.
His wife looks a bit suspect.
I feel like lately there's sort of like a lot... I feel like they don't do... I wish they were still like making documentaries. Like I miss
They
Alex's
can't,
films.
can they? How can they when all their documentary makers left?
That's true. And well, you know, and I guess me sort of speculating that there's been some sort of shift over there. It's not even really speculation because if you look, it's an all new staff basically.
Yeah.
Like Paul Joseph Watson is still around. But other than that, like Leanne McAdoo, she pops in here and there. I like David Knight. I feel like David Knight is the only news show, though. And a lot of the rest of it's now just commentary. A lot of patting themselves on the back. Which, I mean, you know, when everyone's attacking you, I understand the need to do that. But, like, I don't know. I feel like it's not as much being covered or presented as there could be. It's sort of it's taken a shift, and I feel like a lot of the criticisms about it just being sort of cheerleading for Trump and everything like that is I think it's a valid criticism at this point. I mean, I still think they're attacked over completely ridiculous things, like that Salon piece you sent me. That guy did like a hit piece on them off Alex making some like off the cuff remark being like, oh well, we all know that, you know, liberals drink Pepsi because after the Kendall Jenner commercial and everything like that, all conservatives are just like, fuck social justice, Pepsi. I mean, I think Coca-Cola is better anyway, but if I'm gonna drink a soda. Either which way, though, this Salon writer is, like, writing about it as if this is some conspiracy Alex is, like, masterminded, when it's just kind of an off-the-cuff remark. It'd be like saying, like, conservatives aren't drinking Keurig after seeing the Sean Hannity thing where everyone's tossing him out the windows and shit. They'll attack people over anything. You saw the hit pieces on Martina recently, right?
Yeah, well, that's been going on for ages, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like shit she liked and everything like that. Like, I mean...
It's probably because of Jack more than anything.
Well, and it's also her being at Daily Caller. I think what it really...
No, I don't know, I reckon if she wasn't dating Jack, it probably wouldn't have happened, to be honest with you, because I think Jack's got such a high profile.
Yeah, but remember, no, she was.
It's so hard that it just.
But she was on Gavin's show before she was with Jack.
Oh really?
Yeah. So Gavin kind of was the one that kind of placed them within each other's orbits to, you know, link up.
Because Jack used to be part of the BNP. I know he regrets it now, but as soon as you're on that radar for BNP, I mean, you're never gonna walk away from that.
I'm pretty sure, and I've been meaning to try to schedule time to talk to him about it. I remember a month ago, I think, seeing something where some undercover journalist was like...
Yeah, exactly, that's why. Yeah.
Hiding out with him, and like... Yeah. I mean, they both are under some fucking hellfire, and...
Anyone who's been associated with the BNP will be.
And I don't know, I feel bad for them. There's such good people. That's the thing that, you know, even recently, I was telling you about something with Martina, and I was just basically telling her, like, anytime her or Jack have an idea they're thinking of starting or concocting or anything like that, they always come to me and offer for me to be a part of it. And it really means a lot to me. Because, you know, she was just kind of starting up into all of this at the same time I was just kind of starting into it. And me and her have tons of mutual friends from being in the area. She dated a guy from around here. So we all know, you know, we haven't hung out or anything like that. We've been at events at the same time and kind of just seen each other in passing and everything. But she just kind of took off. Like, and I think I was going a little bit before her as far as YouTube and everything like that. So I'm very appreciative of, you know, the fact that...
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think they're both really great people. I
yeah.
like what Jack does. But because of that, it's like getting a tattoo that you can't remove. Like, wherever Jack goes, it's going to get tarnished with a BNP brush. And then it's going to be followed up with, listen to this racist statement. And it's never going to get around that. And I think that could be why... they picked up on Martina more than what they should have done. It's just because of anyone. Because I think a lot when he was helping other party political, like people that are running for election, like they had to distance themselves from Jack because they knew that was going to be in the papers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you disavow them now. It's not going to matter.
Well, I think the one thing, especially in terms with the Salon piece, and over at a Proud Boys site, there's a really good response to it, and it sort of brushed over this factor. But I think what it really boils down to is you have, especially with this one guy, you have someone who probably went to college for journalism and, you know, probably studied and dumped money into this career. And they don't like the fact that there's a beautiful conservative woman who went from, you know, dancing and sort of marketing her beauty as a way to make income, being attacked, having everyone turn on her because she got exposed for being, you know, the evil, alt-right, racist, whatever. And then, at the end of this, you know, her being attacked and losing her job and not being able to get gigs and everything like that, she ends up at a career in journalism at a reputable conservative site without going to school for that or anything like that, because she's just that overall talented. And I mean, they equate it, they say it must be sexism. It has to just be because the right wing, you know, just wants these beautiful women to prop up and to use to sell their propaganda. It can't be that she really thinks this way. She's just being, I mean, it's, the article just permeates with all of the isms and ists that, you know, the leftists would accuse a right-wing person of. But basically says, you know, there's no reason for this. She's a weirdo. It says the Daily Caller descends into alt-right weirdness, and yet it doesn't show any of her Daily Caller work, which is just matter of fact, flat out who, what, where, when, and why journalism. So I think that's part of it. I mean, Jack is definitely a factor in it. Those two are like the fucking I
don't know if you know about the BNP, but I think if you were going to be this Antifa group or this anti-fascist group, the people that you're going to be keeping your eye on is unfortunately the BNP in England. So anyone associated with that, you're going to be on their target list.
Yeah.
Just straight off the bat. I don't know how he's going to get around that.
You know, it's sort of like David Duke would make this point, and he would say, anytime I'm talked about on the news, they always say former KKK. Exactly. He was like, even though that was when I was in my 20s, I left it, I've disavowed it, that was a stupid decision when I was a young man, you know, this, and that. He said, they never say former communist Nelson Mandela, but they always say former KKK David Duke. Like, and yeah, it is. You're right. It's like a tattoo you can't get rid of.
Yeah, you're not going to get rid of it. And then, unfortunately, any party he touches, they're not going to touch him, are they?
No.
They wouldn't.
Well, that's why
Sorry, Jack. I think you're a nice guy, but yeah, if you're running for Parliament, you just wouldn't have Jack anywhere near you.
Yeah. I don't know if political aspirations are necessarily in his future. I know he's working with Rebel, and I guess...
Yeah, was he not with Liberty GP?
Maybe. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, I think he was running for... wasn't he not running, don't quote me, for... Remember Joe Cox got murdered?
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
I think he was in support of someone taking over that seat.
I know he has a Wikipedia page now. He was posting this week being like, does this mean I've made it? Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah, it means... Yeah.
No,
he made it a long time ago. He made it a while ago.
I refer to him and Martina as being my two favorite supervillains.
That's what they are, yeah. Well...
They even look it in the pictures. They're amazing.
Yeah, he's got a Wikipedia page.
I want to be a goddamn supervillain. My time will come. That's what I keep telling myself. I feel like I'm so much more inflammatory than them. I casually say the N-word. talk about...
In February 2017, appearing on Channel 4 live television, what we call was widespread condemnation National Unionist of Students campaigner Barbara Mitini that I hope you don't get raped.
I started to make a beat out of that, and it was so funny because it was just like, I hope you don't get raped. Like, I have to finish it up one of these days. It's just too funny. Oh man, I'll try to put that out. I can't reference it and not put it out. That I hope you don't get raped song. I just feel like I'd have to get like some crazy, like those, you've seen those Thug Life videos with like Ben Shapiro and all of them. I'd have to get like a Thug Life gif of Jack going during the video for that. That was such a...
They linked him to Richard Spencer as well. They've linked the two Wikipedia pages together. That's not going to help.
Yeah. Although, you know what the other thing, though...
Oh, they linked him to Tommy Robinson, though. That will help.
Yeah. The thing about Spencer that boggles the mind is that it's like, and I think I've heard Gavin and Milo both make this remark, where it's like, either of them could do a speech, and it will get shut down. Like, by Antifa and the protesters and everything like that. Richard Spencer could give a speech, and they'll call in a state of emergency to make sure it goes on. Like, why is that? So, when people bring up this idea that, he's an operative and things like that, I sort of wonder. I don't try, and even like I said, I listened to that this week in the alt-right podcast, but it doesn't mean I agree with, like I said, I don't agree with them on most things. I just think some of their perspectives are interesting, and if I'm going to oppose someone, I better know what the fuck I'm opposing. Like, that's what bothers me the most about social justice warriors. They claim to hate conservatives, claim to hate the alt-right, claim to hate anyone left of Noam Chomsky, and yet they are so ignorant of what these people actually think. So, it's just, Mike Enoch, Shady Character, all these people that were like, not just, like me, I once voted Barack Obama, I thought I was a liberal, I realized my values are conservative. I'm like a Dave Rubin in the scheme of things. But, like, these people who are like working campaigns and like Democrat operatives who are now predominant figures in the alt-right, like, how do you make that shift, let alone so quickly?
Yeah, that is fucked.
Well,
why does he dress? Yeah, he's going to hate me for saying this. Why did he dress as Harry Potter on Channel 4?
I don't know. I don't know
Why?
if that was planned. I don't know if Harry Potter was on his mind at that point in time.
Well, it was, obviously, wasn't it? Looks like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, I don't know if there's any other crazy breaking news this week on anything that we should touch on. Any updates on Las Vegas? No? Oh, Las Vegas shooter survived, killed in a hit and run. Wife's...
Yeah, that's lots.
Oh, man, another one died. Wow.
Yeah, well, they're on about the numbers. I think you're nearly up to 30 dead now.
Of the survivors?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think they say it's like 9 to 16. I think it's up to about 30 now. Why hasn't Trump said anything about it yet?
Did you see... I saw something about there was a supposed tweet from Trump about Operation Alice in Wonderland. Have you seen anything about that?
No.
I guess it was only up for a little bit of time. I don't know, but like I said, I think there's a lot of disinformation, like fake tweets being spread around to just sort of muddy those waters. But I don't know. I've seen videos on it, and people think it's like sort of like a signal that like false flag psyops are coming or something. I mean, Trump also made that remark about the calm before the storm and like stuff. He is kind of cryptic at times.
Hmm.